Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar that we titled Getting Started with SAP Business One 102. As you know, this is part 2 of a series of webinars that we're doing to help very new SAP Business One users that are just getting started in their journey. And together with me today is Joshua Hen, one of the latest additions to the Consensus International family. We are delighted to have Joshua on the team, and I am personally delighted that he agreed to work on these webinars with me. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Claire. How are you?
Good, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Great.
Thank you again, Josh, for working with me on this content. Josh has been a consultant and an SAP Business One user for 3 years already. I know it seems impossible when you see how young he is. He's also a Six Sigma Green Belt certified. I don't know if I said that correctly. Did I, Josh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, which is amazing, and working with him is a total pleasure. What we're going to share with you today are tips and basic ways of making your SAP Business One work life a little better. And we were gathering between the two of us our favorite tips that serve us when we were starting our personal journey with SAP Business One. In my case, I started my journey doing admin work in SAP Business One 6 years ago already. Which tip was the one that helped you be more effective in SAP Business One? Like your favorite tip, Josh?
I think it was the copy to and copy from functionalities. It made it really easy to pull documents like a sales order to an invoice, and then then use the relationship map on top of that. So the copy to and from are my favorite.
Fantastic. That's one of the tips that we're going to be sharing with you today. My own personal one, I would say, was the form settings. The day that I discovered that I could adjust the form settings to what I needed, that was a really an eye-opener for me. And just a word of caution with the form settings, I don't remember if we mentioned it on the video or not. When whatever you don't see, it doesn't mean that it's not there. You can make it visible. So that's one of the beauties of the form settings and how customizable this system really is. Before we get started with our content today, I want to remind everyone that our customer day for 2021 is upcoming. It's in November, from November 9th to November 11th. You can register to all sessions or to the sessions that appeal most to you. And we're working really hard to build the best content for you. And really, the customer day, it's honors its name. We really want it to be useful for you. So please take a look at the agenda in our website, register to the sessions that look appealing to you, and let us know how we can improve the agenda maybe for next year or any idea that you have. Remember that the more sessions you attend, the more chances you have to win an iPad mini. That's what we're giving away this year. So another reason to be excited about the customer day. Other than the customer day, after this webinar, if you want to keep on learning, on deepening your knowledge of SAP Business One, always visit our website, consensusintl.com. We have plenty of resources there, webinars that we've done in the past. If you didn't see part 1 of this Getting Started with SAP Business One, I highly recommend that you do. And so that you get that basic introduction first. And lastly, this session that we do once a month, also very recommended for you as you go along your SAP Business One journey. This opens different doors for you that you might want to explore at some point for more additional training materials. So be sure to register to one of these sessions. Maybe you can do that soon, and then later when you're a more advanced user, you can register again. We do that every month. Okay. So let's get started. Both Josh and myself are going to now stop our video, and we will also mute all attendees. And if you have questions along the way, please feel free to use the Q&A feature in Zoom. You can find that probably at the bottom or at the top of your screen. We'll try to answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. So let's just now go to the presentation. SAP Business One allows every user to customize their screen and their interface to their personal likings or to their personal role. These that we're going to see right now, these changes will only affect the user that is making those changes. In order to customize your personal settings, you need to go to the toolbar, and in the toolbar, you will find this little person icon, which will actually open your personal settings, user setup settings in SAP. In this window, you will find 3 different tabs. The first one is general, the second one is services, and the third one is display. For the purpose of this little presentation, I'm going to adjust my display settings, since what we see right now is really, really small, and I'm sure that it's difficult for you guys to read as it is for me. So some of the things that we can change with the display settings are the color. I'm going to choose pink so that we see the change. You can also choose to change the language. By default, you will have English United States because of the US localization, but you might be working here but prefer to use your system in Portuguese or Spanish or a different language. You can also choose the font, and today I'm going to leave the default font, which is Tahoma, but I'm going to change the font size. I'm going to choose a bigger font size, and I have a preview right here of what we're going to see. You can also personalize the background, including an image, even your company logo, for instance, etc. I'm going to update these settings now so that we're able to see immediately the changes. And you can now see that I have pink as a color. We're seeing the same screen that we were seeing before. And the font size is bigger, which allows us to read better. So now with this new view, we're going to review what you can actually change on the general settings tab. And in these general settings tabs, you're going to be able to update your contact information and even manage your password. Very important reminder, you should have your work email in this tab in your user setup window. If you don't have your working email here, this might create some problems going forward when you want to send documents from SAP Business One. So this is a very important field that you need to have filled in. Here on the services tab, you're going to be able to personalize the actions that you want to do or that you want displayed at the beginning of each session after you log in to SAP Business One. So for instance, I have here the option that I want the recurring postings to be displayed after I log in. So that will serve as a reminder for me of things that I need to do. But you have many other different options, and many might work for some users, and for other users will choose different displays at the beginning of their session. You can also choose how often the system checks for new messages. And by default, you will see 5 minutes, but you can maybe create a different recurring time for the system to check on your messages, as well as you can personalize your default screen time. By default is 30 minutes. I already changed this to 15 minutes. And you can also here decide if you want the license information at startup or you don't, and other different options. So right now I'm going to revert this. So I don't want to use pink anymore. So I choose this, and this font size works for me. So I'm going to update, and without the pink, but I will be left with this font size. So now I open any document and you will see that the font size is the one that I chose. And for that reason, my documents are going to be taking up more screen real estate, but it's really going to be up to you and the way that works best for you.
The search bar might be the most utilized function in SAP Business One. To access it, like we discussed earlier, we can use the hamburger icon in the top left. Here, certain modules are displayed depending on your form settings for the search bar. We can customize these form settings by using the gear icon in the top left. Here you'll be able to see that there are many different visible options and modules that are displayed and not displayed here, like the production, as well as the reports. If we'd like these to be displayed in the modules sidebar, we can simply click them as visible, click update, and here you'll see they'll be added to the search bar. It's important to note that the search bar will only search through the modules that are displayed on the sidebar. So here, if I go up to our form settings, remove sales AR and CRM, update it, and look for a sales order, I'll only be able to see related sales order reports, but there is no sales order. Whenever I remove this field, click on the toolbar, form settings, add sales AR and CRM, click update, and then search for a sales order. I'll be able to see sales order in both the sales AR and CRM modules. It is important to note that all of the modules will be displayed in the modules menu bar. The form settings are also very useful within the marketing document windows, as well as any other document windows in SAP. You can utilize the form settings function by the gear icon in the toolbar. For the sales order, we'd like to go to the table format, and here we can customize what columns are displayed in the sales order. So whenever they are visible, we can see them. So here we'll uncheck the item number and item description to display that they will no longer be in the sales order. This is helpful whenever you have mandatory fields. Only displaying the mandatory fields might help you complete a sales order quicker. We can also change the order in which the form settings displays the columns. So here, if I wanted the quantity to be above the barcode and the serial number, I can simply drag and drop right on the serial number, and this will replace the serial number so that the quantity is now behind the item description. By clicking OK, it'll move the item description behind, or move the quantity above the serial number. This is displayed here. It is important to note that not all of the fields will be displayed in your sales order whenever you first open SAP Business One or in any other document within the system. It might be a good idea if you'll be working under somebody else, if they already have a good form setting template, it might be good idea to take a screenshot of their sales order or the documents that you'll be using and sort of align it with their setup.
SAP Business One provides a comprehensive set of tables and fields in each of its modules. However, if your company requires additional tables and fields for its day-to-day operations, SAP Business One also gives you the possibility to create your own user-defined fields in existing system tables or even your own user-defined tables. As a best practice, we recommend using system fields and maybe changing the name, which is something that you can do. But in some cases, it is necessary to create user-defined fields or tables. We are not going to go over how to create user-defined fields or tables. We just feel that it's important that you are aware that those exist. And if you cannot see them on the normal screen, there is a quick way of seeing if there are user-defined fields in your screen or table. And that is what we want to show you today. So what we have on the screen is a business partner master data screen. And as you see, we have a lot of different fields with information that we want to capture regarding our business partners. And we even have a lot of tabs down here with more fields for more information. But if your company created additional user-defined fields, the way to see them will be going to the menu on top, clicking on View, and then choosing the first option, User-Defined Fields. Once you do this, what you will see is that an additional screen is shown to the right of your previous screen with the user-defined fields that have been created for this module. In some cases, if your company has already used UI to actually customize your screens, these user-defined fields might be already on your dashboard here on your business partner master data screen. But if you're not sure and if you cannot find a field and someone mentions it's a user-defined field, this is a quick way of actually seeing if there are user-defined fields associated with this table. User-defined fields can be mandatory. This is a setup that whoever creates the user-defined fields in your company decides. And if you're not able to maybe add a document or continue with your workflow, and the error message mentions something related to a UDF field, you can always go to View User-Defined Fields to open that additional screen that gives you access to the user-defined fields.
Another great tip and trick for your documents is the fit to column width functionality. I think this is sort of resembles Excel in the way that you can drag the columns to make them wider or more narrow. But a shortcut to this is through the menu bar. Click on View and then Fit to Column Width, and it will expand each column so that you see the whole description of each field. This might be helpful whenever you have long descriptions where you're typing in a description of a service item or other things that might have longer or shorter fields, or whenever you have a lot of columns within your document.
SAP Business One relationship map allows you to visualize the relationships between business objects in SAP Business One, such as chain of documents in sales and purchasing, related postings such as journal entries or internal reconciliations, maybe also the payments related to purchasing or sales order, landed costs and the related items, bill of materials included with other bill of materials, that is bill of materials and their parent items, for instance, production orders and the related items, service calls and related expenses. It's a very cool feature that gives you visibility in a second at the tip of your finger. So this is how a relationship map looks. In this case, everything originated from this sales order. You can actually move these tiles around and you can see that based on this sales order, a production order was created that in turn generated 2 different issues for production and a receipt from production. And also from that same sales order, a delivery was created. And after the delivery, the AR invoice was created. This is how a relationship map looks. We are next going to see how these documents are actually linked to each other, because that is something that you need to do while you're working on the documents and your flow for the process that you manage. It's not something that happens magically or that can be done after the fact. It's something in the way that you actually create these documents that it's going to link them together so that you can see a relationship like this one. Now that we have a clear idea of what a relationship map is, we need to know how to access it. To start the relationship map, you just need to right-click on a business object that it's in part of this relationship map, for example, a sales document or a payment, and you right-click on anywhere on the document, and then you choose the very last option, relationship map, and that's going to open the relationship map for you. In this case, we were looking at this relationship map, opening it from a sales order. And what we see is that this flow originated in a sales quotation. And we're now going to add a delivery to this sales order so that you can see how you link one document to the next. And what we do to link documents together is, instead of creating them in an isolated scenario, we go to this sales order, and from this sales order, we are going to choose this button right here, copy to. So once we copy to, we can choose, because depending on the process that you have, on your internal process, you might want to create, after a sales order, you might want to create a delivery, or you might create directly an AR invoice or an AR down payment, etc. In this case, we're going to create a delivery. And once we've clicked there and we've selected, please note that we are already on the delivery. We are creating a delivery, and this delivery already has information pre-filled for us with the same items, the same quantities that the original sales order had. You are able to edit this because you might have a partial delivery, but for the purpose of this example, we're just going to keep it as is. And we're going to say that the delivery happened today. So we're posting the delivery on the same day that the delivery is happening. And we're just going to add this document. As always, the system displays this message warning us that this is final and that we won't be able to change anything after we've added this delivery, but we are okay with that. So we are actually adding the delivery. Once this delivery has been added, like right now, you know that since we clicked on add a new, we are taken to a new screen for a delivery, but we can navigate to the delivery that we just created by clicking on the previous record arrow on our toolbar. And here we have the delivery that we just created. If we right click anywhere on this delivery and we choose relationship map, we are going to see that this relationship map already includes the delivery. And that is how you actually link documents that go together. I want to show you briefly that the copy to is the most typical way that you will link documents to one another, because the logical order in which the process goes, that's the order in which you probably will be creating the documents. But also, we also have available the copy from, and that works this way. So we see that this delivery was for Maxitech. Let's say that we now open we want to create an AR invoice, and we need to remember what this delivery number was, which was 1174. So if we open a brand new AR invoice and we start creating this AR invoice for this company, and basically we now remember, oh, we wanted to link this to that delivery 1174. What we can do is we can come down here, and you see now we have this button with active for us, the copy from. So this is we're gonna choose this, and we're gonna say, oh, we want to link this to a delivery. Okay, so the system is going to give us a list of all available deliveries that have not yet been converted into AR invoices. And in this case, we didn't need to remember the number because there was only one. But then we choose that delivery, and we are asked for some options. What we chose was that we wanted all the information relating to the item to be brought in from that delivery. So that's also another possibility. And now we just need to add this invoice. Again, a reminder that this is final and that we won't be able to make any changes to it afterwards. So now let us go back to the sales order that we were working with at the beginning. But now when we click and we get the relationship map, it already has the delivery and the AR invoice. This red bar here at the bottom means that it's not yet paid. Once we add a payment, which we can also do, and we're going and it's the next step that I'm going to show you. From the relationship map, if you just saw, we can go to those documents by just clicking on the tile that represents the document. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a payment. Clicking here, opening the payment means, and I'm going to say yes, that this is paid. Okay. I'm going to say that this was paid, and I'm going to add this payment. And we're going to now see, when we go back to the relationship map, we probably need to close. We go back to the sales order and reopen the relationship map to see how it was updated. And now we see the incoming payment, and the red bar has changed into yellow. So this is how things get linked together, and it's a fantastic feature in SAP Business One. I hope you enjoy it.
The draft functionality in SAP Business One can be useful whenever you are busy and you can't complete a document and you want to come back to it in the near future, but you don't want to post or add the new document. So to demonstrate this, I'll open up a new sales quote. I'll assign a customer. Here we use Alpha Group. Also assign an item number. And we use the office print. And anywhere in the white space, I can simply right-click and save as a draft. Once the document is saved as a draft, I'll come to my Sales AR, scroll down to the sales reports, and then go to the document drafts report. Here I can filter out by user, what documents I'd like to see and who created them, as well as filtering out the documents that I'd like to see relevant. So here, in this case, I'd only like to see sales quotations. So I can simply unclick the purchasing and click OK. Here I'll only see the drafts for the sales quotations for my user. Here we'll see my three sales quotations. I can simply drill down into the document number. And I could scroll down to the bottom, and I could simply add the draft. SAP Business One's recurring transaction functionality is almost like a draft system. The way that we can start with this is going into our Sales AR module, recurring transactions template. This is where we're going to define our transactions template for how often we want to see the transactions come across. So we'll name the template as a test, and for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to use an AR invoice. So here we have a document number. So we need to determine a draft. So we'll create a new draft from the list of documents. I will assign a customer to the AR invoice template. Here we'll use MaxiTech. Create an item number. Add an item number. JB Office Printer. And we want to invoice for 5 of these for the customer. So this is helpful whenever you have things like utilities, or a customer would like to buy a certain item every first day of the month. So once I'm happy with my AR invoice template, I'll simply add the template. And then our document number will now be referenced as our test template. So here under the recurrence period, we can set the recurring time frame. So if I want it daily, weekly, monthly, and so on. So for this one, I like it every 2 months. So the customer wants to buy a new printer, or 5 new printers every 2 months. Then we can set the recurrence date on the date of which we'd like to have the current recurring transaction post. So on the 10th of every month, every 2 months, we'll do issue the AR invoice for the 5 printers. Here we can assign the start date, and we'll do it as next month. So we'll start on the 21st of November, and then because we're doing it every 2 months, we'll have it on the 10th date of every 2 months. We'll do the next transaction will be on the 10th of January. Now the valid until date is whenever we'd like to stop this. So I would like to stop this next year. So we'll do 11/22, or a year from the posting, 11/21/22. And this shows our business partner that is associated with it, as well as the warehouse affected. And we'll simply add the template. So here we can display the templates for the transactions at a certain date. We can also specify what BP codes we want to see. For now, we'll close out of this. So to see our actual recurring transactions, we'll go into the recurring transactions underneath our sales. And here we'll be able to see the template in which we're using. For the AR invoice that was already in the system, we'll simply drill down into the template so we can see where the template or draft was pulled from. So we'll simply close out of this. And here it's important that we can update the quantities and pricing if needed. So if I'd like to issue this AR invoice today, I'll simply check the box and execute. So this recurring transaction message will show us that our AR invoice was created successfully and the invoice will be issued to the customer. If we come back to the confirmation for recurring transactions, there won't be any left. Depending on your role in your company, you might find it really helpful to view the open items list. This is available for all documents within SAP Business One, and we can access this by using the search bar, by searching open items list. And this could be found in the reports as well. So if I scroll down to the reports and look for the sales and purchasing, I can simply select the open item list. What's great about the open item list report is that we can filter the documents on the right by seeing the open documents for sales quotes, returns, or any other documents that might be of use to you in SAP Business One. Here we'll see a brief overview of the document, the vendor name, days overdue, due date, and the original amount of the document. This is a great alternative to go from going into the, in this case, the AP invoices and using the toggle keys in the toolbar like we talked about before. This will give you a very detailed overview of each document that is open or outstanding.
When working with SAP Business One screens and documents, we have 3 different fields for dates. One is the posting date, the second one is the due date, and the third one is the document date. By default, the posting date and the document date are going to auto-populate with the current date. And I am preparing this recording for you on October 26th. 2021, and that's why these dates have populated automatically for me. Your system might also be set up to estimate or calculate for you the due date on this type of documents, like the AR invoice, which is the one I'm showing to you right now, or maybe a specific delivery date based on different settings. In this case, probably the payment terms of this particular customer that I'm showing. But what I want to show you right now is ways of easily changing these dates and inputting data into the dates manually in case you ever need to do that yourselves. So the easiest way of inputting data into a posting date, which needs to be today, the current day, is to actually just type in any letter. I like to use the T for today in your keyboard, and then tab, and that will automatically bring today's date to the posting and document date. And then if you have the system set up to calculate the due date, that would also appear like we see in this case. So I use letter T, but you can use any other letter. Other ways that you can input dates into the dates field in SAP are by clicking here on the calendar icon and then just choosing the date. Let's say that we want to use October 12th of this year, and that will automatically change that. And once we click on tab, this due date automatically calculates itself based on the previous setup. The other way that you can fill out a date without using the calendar and is actually just typing in the date. And when I started using SAP Business One, I used to be careful to include the slash symbol on when I was inputting my dates. But then I later discovered that you can also input the date without doing the slash symbol. So simply typing in 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month. Sorry, I did it the European way. Let's start over. 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and then 4 digits for the year. And then SAP will change that into the slash format that we are familiar with. Interestingly enough, SAP will complete your date if you are wanting to use a day of the current month and current year, but a different day than today. So remember that I'm recording this on October 26th, so I'm going to pretend that I need to use the date of October 15th, 2021. Since I only need to input the day 15, because then the system, when I click on tab, will fill out the rest. The same goes for different day, different month, same year. I only need to click on to input the month. So let's pretend that I want to use September 15. So I would input 09 for September and 15, 15 for the day. And then when I click on tab, the system will automatically input the current year. Another useful little shortcut that I think is very useful in case you need to change the due date or digit it manually and calculate it manually. If we say that this document had a posting date of September 15 and you need to input a due date of 15 days after the posting date, you can simply type in plus 15 and then tab, and that will, the system will already calculate for you what the due date should be based on that number. So you can use it for +3, +30, whatever comes to mind, so that you don't, not only you don't need to type in the date, but you don't need to calculate what the date should be. Okay, so those were the tips that we wanted to share with you today. And we do have a couple of questions. I'm gonna get the first one because it's actually related to the comment that I made at the beginning of the webinar when I said that form settings are my favorite tip, but that to use a word of caution, and I wasn't clear as to what I meant. So one of you is asking me what I meant exactly, and I want to show it to you right now. What I meant, this is something that that actually happened to me when I was starting using SAP Business One for admin work. So let me share my screen. Give me just a second, and I will share my screen here. Okay, so this is what I meant about the word of caution in relation to the form settings. Is I encountered this situation, and other users I know have encountered similar situations as well. I was looking at a document that I hadn't created myself, and I was seeing something similar to this. So you see, we have an item number, we have a quantity of 1, we have the unit price being $300. And the tax code is Pennsylvania, and then the total for some reason is 150, right? And the total of the document is also 150, and you do have here this field that is called discount, and we don't see anything here. And if you're new to SAP Business One, you might think, well, the system is not working. Why is the unit price 300 and the total is 150? So this had me puzzled for a little while. Fortunately, I was surrounded by SAP consultants, and they showed me that when I click on form settings, what I discovered, and you click on table format, I discovered that I did have a discount field that was not showing on my settings, on my form settings. So when I actually made the discount field visible, then everything was clear, right? So that's what I meant when I said that if you don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. So all the fields that you see here on the table format might have information inside of them, right? And since form settings relating to documents are user-based, that's why Josh was mentioning that it's very interesting to make sure that you have the exact same form settings for each one of the documents that you work with as the rest of your colleagues that you're going to be working with, and that have and that input information into your workflow. Because if you don't, you might find yourself, puzzled by something that is affecting the final price, or maybe one of the fields that you have as non-visible is a mandatory field, and you can't go on with the document because you're actually not inputting information into a mandatory field. So very useful. The form settings is very useful and critical and very, very important. I see that we have another question, and this one, Josh, if you're ready, I would like you to take it. This one is asking, do draft documents keep the number of the document when they become actual documents?
Great. All right. So yeah, the document numbers in the document draft report will display as the same number if they're the same document type. So here we have two sales orders that are the same amount. However, whenever I drill into this document and I'm editing the document, I want to add another item here. For example, we use the printer again. And then see, we have the 1216 here, which is the document number. And then we scroll down and add the document. Ooh, I forgot to add the delivery date. And using Claris TIFF for the dates, we'll just use T and tab. Update the existing rows. And then we can add the document. Then whenever we come back to the document draft and we relaunch the report. So once the document is added, we can go back to our sales AR, go to our sales orders, and go to the last added sales order. We'll see that it's 1216. Then whenever we go back to our drafts report, for our sales order, go to the second one. By the posting or delivery date to today. Add a new. We'll see that the document number has increased to 1218. So by going back to our sales order, and then going to our last sales order, we can see that the document number has changed to 1217.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. We have another question from an attendee asking, when are we going to have these trainings in Spanish? We are working on it, and we hope it will be soon. It might not be until the beginning of next year. But I will definitely let you know. Please send us an email to info@consensusintl.com so that we make sure to let you know specifically, and so that you can share that information. But it is true, we do have a number of users that are Spanish speakers and prefer to receive this training in Spanish. And fortunately, we have a lot of bilingual consultants in the team, and we are working on it as we speak. So I hope it will be very, very soon. Please remember to check out the Customer Day agenda. For that, you just need to go to our website, consensusintl.com, and you'll see the agenda right there. Join in the sessions, and if you have additional questions to these sessions or relating to anything in SAP Business One or your relationship with us, with Consensus, please make sure to write to us, write an email, or just pick up the phone and call us. We are here for you and happy to help. Thank you, Josh, again, and thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thank you, Clara.
Bye. Have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
day.
You too.